The waters of the underground lake, purposely disturbed, the heroes knew they were in for more than they originally bargained for. Their seemingly singularly minded foe was considerably more than just that. Wasting no time against the mounting danger, the heroes slowed and heaved at their enemy, forcing defeat upon the earthen elemental before I could find refuge in reinforcements. But the creature that rose in the lake was nothing short of terrifying, as multiple serpentine, snapping maws lurched forward for their lives. However, Kruka was made for this bout, and cleaved and cauterized the heads of the Hydra with the support of his allies. And even through its regeneration, they found a second victory. But the lake began to rise, and save for Tulak and Flight, their feet and legs were submerged. The devil known as the Sarklagon surfaced from the fetid waters and tried to drown Kruka from within his own lungs. But his ferocity and rage were not ready to let out just yet. With everyone's efforts to protect their friend, Tulak goaded the devil into leaving the water and was left unconscious, poisoned, and suspended high above his doom.
Welcome back, listeners. I have a question for the posse, the crew. Is there a certified banger that just always gets you going, always gets you in the mood to just go out there and absolutely just wreck whatever you're doing, like a hype song?
Okay,
You heard our theme song?
I see Scott's already ready, rearing to go. What did you listen to before we started recording, Scott? Tell me.
well, it wasn't today, but it was yesterday. Because yesterday I had a job interview. And before every single job interview I've ever done, maybe not ever, but in the last many, many years, I will set myself aside. I'll take 6 minutes and I will listen to all Eminem's final freestyles from 8 Mile in a row. And it gets me pumped up. I'm talking pumped up. I get goosebumps. I get right into it. I get my breathing right, and I'm ready for that interview. And I got a new job. So it works.
Oh, yes.
So anyways, if you're ever looking to get a little pumped up and believing in yourself, YouTube.
Are you now the
Final
chief
Rabbit
water
House.
tester in Vancouver? You walk around with the little testing strips and just test everyone's water.
Yeah, you're
Now
not
he
far
gets
off. I
2
do.
shovels to lean on.
You're not far off. I do test the water to make sure that it is okay weekly and send it to Metro Vancouver testing station. So yes.
Okay, before Freeman derails us, James, you got a hype song?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to give you like a fun answer like that, but honestly, it's a combination of "Number of the Beast" by this old techno band called the D Devils. that
Oh,
I'm sure nobody's ever heard of.
Nope.
I thought it was gonna be Iron Maiden.
It's no Iron. Sometimes Iron Maiden, the Trooper, will get me going if I'm playing, or the Wicker Man if I've got the bass in my hands or a guitar. The Wicker Man will definitely get my blood pumping. But honestly, most of the time it's pretty lame or blasé. It's a classic in my opinion, and it is Fat Lip by Canada's own Sum 41.
Ooh, good
That
call.
is a certified banger.
That whole album is certified.
Another one of my guests for James was gonna be "Push It" by Static X.
I like Machine, but I actually like oh no, Push It's from on Wisconsin Death Trip. I like Machine, but I actually like their last studio album more, and I can't remember what it's called. The name's failing me right now, but Push It is really good.
Push It is a good one.
Push
I
it
kinda-
to the limit.
Sometimes
No,
I
not that
really
one. Good
forget
one.
about Static X, but when I was young, I was big on them. Damn.
Yeah, I saw Static X a couple of times in Toronto before we lost the great Wayne.
What about you, Dunk?
Oh, so many depending on the mood. I
Dunk
was
is
an
the
ang-
resident like music guru in the Discord.
yeah, I've been
Always
going
post
through a
up.
lot of stuff lately. Going through a lot of stuff, as in going through a bunch of obscure music, trying to find stuff I like. But I do like going back to my angsty teenage days of new metal, and I'll throw on some System of a Down every now and then. Their first album and possibly a bit of their second album is the only good new metal. Don't at me.
I won't.
But besides that, like I've tried to been going the more like fake it till you make it, happy go lucky kind of songs. So Everyone's a Guru Now by Saint Motel is kind of my hey, the world's okay, let's face it with a smile on kind of song. And then if I'm feeling sad, I'll go listen to like some Matthew Good or something.
Yeah. Oh, love me some Matthew Good too.
Okay, what else do you love, Freeman?
So I mean, the more everyone talked, the more I have started adding to my own list. So I thought, I've got one. But one of the things that comes to mind is, I mean, I'm sure I know that I'm not alone in this, but when we were younger, it was like always about driving around with your friends in whoever's car, and the music was blasting. You weren't even really talking. You were just going from point A to point B, listening to whatever pumped you up. And the go-to one for me and my friend Josh was always Rammstein. Big Rammstein fans, including, especially for me, was Mein Herz brennt. And
There we go.
yeah. And Links 234. Links so
Okay.
3-4 and Du riechst so gut. Those were big ones. I loved those songs. With my buddy
Just
Mitch.
a big Mutter fan, eh?
Yeah. My buddy Mitch, it was Tool. It was a lot of Tool. And in particular, Tool's one of my favorite ones for pump ups because they're really good for long con pump ups, I think. And in particular, I think one of the most underrated, there's two like really good back-to-back songs they did in their album. So there's Parable and Parabola that are back-to-back that are amazing. And then on the 10,000 Days album, there was also Wings for Marie and the 10,000 Days song also back-to-back. And they're long cons, but damn, are they good as like a one big long piece. So
they are good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real good. And then they also have like there's so many amazing just like single songs as well, like Vicarious and I mean there's just too many. But on the positive side of things, I'm glad Dunk said that because something came to mind right away, and it's actually a Gautier song. Famous for was it Somebody I Used to Know, but he's got an album called Making Mirrors that's actually pretty good, pretty much start to finish. And there's a song that's simply called I Feel Better, and it's a real good happy pump up song. It's really, really cool. I highly recommend it. But yeah, those are my
speaking
big
of I
ones,
Feel
think.
Better, there's a song
Yeah.
called I Feel Better by Hot Chip that's really good.
Ooh,
Hot Chip's great.
Hot Chip's great.
I'd also
Yeah.
like to give an honorable mention to Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper.
Oh yes. And you know
Ours
what?
was
The
Betty
band,
Davis.
and,
eyes.
the band Starfucker does a really good cover of that.
And I'd love to shout out the Flash Gordon theme song by Queen. That
Yeah.
synth, the way that starts, just gets me going.
I mean, Queen's got lots of good pump up songs too. No doubt
Yeah,
about
now
that.
I got so
Yeah.
many going
No
through my
doubt.
head. Like you mentioned Queen, and I've got Everybody's Lonely by Jukebox the Ghost. That's a great song. Delta by C2C, the French turntablism band. That's super fucking good. That's a really good pump up
Yes.
song.
I would be remiss to not mention, because I went to Nas and Wu-Tang last night. Nas, Got Yourself a Gun, or New York State of Mind. Wu-Tang, Gravel Pit, or Cream.
Oh, what about Paranoid Android by Radiohead? Oh, that's a good
See,
song.
Radiohead, I thought would be a really depressing show to go see, and it ended up being like one of the best concerts I've ever been
Yeah,
to. So I turned around on my opinion of them.
cool. I love me some Radiohead. I don't love all Radiohead, but I have a mad appreciation for them.
So,
What about you, Cam?
not to...
Oh yeah, Cam's got to go.
Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead, Scott. Cut me off. Cut in
Yeah.
line. Let's get us back into this segue.
Yeah,
I'm
Scott. I
fucking
definitely wasn't
dying
about
out
to do
here,
the same
man.
thing.
I'm
Definitely
fucking
not.
dying, okay?
It's okay. They ignored me in the last intro.
I'm sorry,
but I
Cam,
get
you
it.
go first. But
Okay. I was going to say something about James not talking in the last one, but I was like, I'm new here. Maybe this is just a thing. No, for
It never
me.
got tossed to me. I was ready. It just never got tossed my way. I'm
You
not
want to
gonna
you want to
interrupt
handle it now?
guys.
You want to run it back right now, just so for the listeners.
what did we talk
for the
about
record,
last
I
week?
agree with Scott. Courage is, or bravery is courage in the face of fear, and I have nothing else to add. So.
Okay, perfect. I have.
Player agency is dependent on the player. It's not dependent on the mechanics of the game. If you get paralyzed or turned to stone or some shit, you can find interesting ways to contribute, whether that's insight into your character or whatever else. So, no, I have nothing meaningful to contribute to that intro.
Okay. For me, it really depends on what kind of hype I'm trying to go through. If I'm in like a weird, rare moment of self-doubt, it's actually I Can't Handle This by Bo Burnham, which just absolutely
yep.
crushes me every single time. And I'm like, normally I would not put a joke song anywhere in there, but like with the like you can see him like having a panic attack on stage while he's doing it. And it's like, oh, that's relatable as somebody that has done content and played shows and everything else. But on the like just getting ready to go murder the day, it's either Bleed by Meshuggah or Counting Worms by Knocked Loose, and they both just absolutely every single time just I remember when I worked in food service, I would get there to open we like had a little hole in the wall on the back of a bar, and I get there at 7:30 in the morning, and one of the bartenders would be there like doing setup and like ha 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 just talking to themselves or whatever, and they'd be like, "What's up, Cam?" And my Bluetooth speaker would connect in the bar, and I would just press play on Meshuggah and crack a monster and just go like, nope, not handling any of this. I'm just gonna go be mad inside the kitchen right now. And got me through it.
Amazing.
Speaking of being mad, this creature's 25 feet in the air and I can't hit it with my stump.
Speaking of Scott getting a new job and testing the waters, he really tested the waters with this creature and is now probably going to die. And rather
For the
unceremoniously,
listeners,
I might add.
not Scott. Tulok.
No.
Tulok is probably going to die.
No, Scott's going to
Scott's
Yeah,
probably
Scott's
gonna
looking
make
pretty
it through
rough
the end.
over there.
I-
He was at a
if
Wu-Tang.
Tulok dies, Freeman will be the one who dies.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, here we are. This is good. This is. We had a whole combat episode yesterday. Last week.
Feels like
And,
yesterday. I've been sitting on fucking pins and needles for a goddamn week.
And things look real shady. And the Sargogon has just about killed Tulok, and it is going to be Glastrumdor's turn at the very end of round 10. Oh wait, Sargogon's gonna take void damage.
And persistent fire?
Completely forgot. Now the fire is gone. I completely forgot about all of the horrible effects that are on the Sarglacon right now. Reminder, listeners, off guard, persistent void, drained 1, frightened 1, and stupefied 1. I'm going to take 19 void damage. Brutal. And I fail my recovery check with a 10.
Fuck yeah, you did.
Glash.
The stupefy will fall off. And
Stupefy falls off. Okay.
yeah, it's 1 round for.
Okay, 1 round. And the frightened might fall off.
It does not. It's part of impending doom.
Oh, it does not. Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
yeah, due to crisis of fate, that is for 1 round.
We're doing all right and keeping track what the hell happened last time.
Yep.
Okay, Glash,
All
what
right,
do you got?
Glash is going to waddle / doggy paddle his way forward 5 feet and is within 30 feet, and so he will cast Acid Splash.
Acid Splash.
That is a 32 to hit.
Ooh, that hits, yeah.
All right. For
Flash with a splash.
that doesn't feel right. 5th level should be 2d6, not 1d6. So it's
Okay.
going to be 10 points of damage, 1 splash damage, and that is it.
Okay. 1.
Persistent.
No, only on a critical.
And is Tulok going to take splash damage?
I can target. How far can I target? I might be able to put it
And
far enough away.
realistically, Lump is 5 feet away. Just
Well, they're
no,
25 feet.
No,
in the
they're
air.
both flying. Tulok and the Sargon.
right, but the acid is going to fall. It's not just
Nah.
gonna.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Rules is
magically
written. Nah,
dissipates.
Not going to go that way, yeah.
Nah, you take that. You take that gravity out of here.
I guess Tulok does take the 1 point of damage. Glass didn't figure that in.
Why would you
Dying
do this to
for
me?
Tulok?
I don't like taking things back. Glash is just excited to contribute. And
Probably
yeah.
not realizing that Tulok is unconscious and dying. Tulok takes splash damage.
Yeah,
Like
like-
dying 3 in the air.
Glash is definitely like underwater and just like hopping up to
barely
like cast a
see,
spell. Yeah.
I don't
I'm
like
actually getting
this.
nervous. I'm actually getting nervous now.
You two fucking. You two in
Tulok's-
back there.
Tulok's got Die Hard.
You go to dying 5. What are you crying about?
Okay, hold on. Whew. Izori, you're up. It is round 11.
Zori is just gonna fire off 3 rounds of first level magic missile.
Probably the best idea.
3, 2, and 5 points of force damage, and you will take 14 points of void damage for the final bit of impending doom.
Okay, what level did you cast Magic Missile at? Level 1? Okay.
First level
And how many points again
for impending doom,
for Impending Doom?
14.
Describe your
It's
kill.
29 divided by 2. Yeah, so it looks exactly
Oh,
like that.
shit.
She just points the rapier and just bam, 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 and then as she hits it, you see the thing like swagger, like in a video game, and then it just falls, hits its head off the in the water, and rolls over dead.
I did
Covered
not think it was that
void
close to death.
damage. Its brain just kicks off, and it has like basically a what's the word I'm looking for? I was gonna say conniption fit, but that's just like a temper tantrum, isn't it? What's
Like a seizure.
Seizure. Thank you. Yeah, just like something goes off in its brain, and it just collapses, or just dies in the middle of the air and just falls into the water with a big old splash. But we're not gonna leave rounds yet. Lump, what do you do?
Lump is going to look at Tulok, who had the bravery to come this close to engage with the monster with them, and reach out a hand, bloody at the stump from their dropped weapon, and cast a 2-action heal. So that Scott doesn't come to Texas and kill
That's
me
right.
for 50 points of damage.
I mean,
Healing,
Krucka's looking
sorry,
pretty far
healing.
down. I think Krucka deserves it too. So
Yeah, it'll be fine. Whatever.
And
All right,
then last
50
action,
points to
we'll
Tulok.
raise a shield to see if anything else comes back.
okay, so 50 points to Tulok, which wakes him up. He's still flying in the air, like, and
Do you imagine coming back to consciousness 25 feet in the fucking air?
Oh,
yeah, like
man.
you know those dreams where you feel like you hit the ground and you wake up with a jolt? It's probably like the worst of that.
Yeah, I like to think that Lump's magic is pretty forceful, and so there probably is just a little bit of kinetic energy in there.
Yeah, it's not very like gracious with the casting. I imagine like it doesn't have
No.
a delicate touch. Yeah,
Nope, does not. It was just be better.
yeah, like the closest thing to risky surgery you can get with casting.
Yeah, as casting heal. Yeah.
All right, Krucka, it's your turn.
Krucka, he would start to cheer at the monster going down and then choke on his own vomit as he retches.
Just get rid of this. He's sickened. I forgot about that.
I'm not.
29 done the fortitude save.
Oh yeah, and what caused this again? It was the drown effect. That is a success. You've shaken off the second
That is a
condition.
critical success.
How dare you shake it off critically? Okay, and this is just when your rage falls off too, just in time. If that's all you're gonna do, Tulok,
Wait, can't he treat poison?
possibly, but Tulok's still 25 feet in the air.
Yeah, well, I
No,
guess.
I mean on Krucka, because Krucka got the Sarlagon.
Oh no,
No, he
Krucka
succeeded
critically
out of that. But I mean, I guess if we're still in combat, something's going on. He'd like to now unsickened, like do a perception check or something to see if he can find out what's going on in the room.
Sure. I'll roll you one real quick. You take a moment to retch, and manage to cough up the rest of the murky water that's in your lungs. Take a look around. You can see the water is starting to suddenly recede, much slower than it rose, and you're getting a good idea, kind of a good lay of the land. Now, you don't see any more danger. You see Tulok like spring to life in the air, and perhaps you might get ready to like catch him in case he's gonna fall, because he almost looks like he's prone, like but floating there. It just like starts awake.
Okay, so he would like if he can like start to move over that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you just see it like trudging through. It's like waist deep, and then by the time you get there, it's like knee deep, or close to anyway. Tulok, it is your turn. I believe the Sarglagon went before you or after you originally. He's dead, so it changed his initiative order.
Yeah, it was. I had delayed until after it.
Okay, so in that case, give me a fortitude save right away.
27.
Also, you had gone down, so your initiative would have been right after it.
Yeah.
27. You recover from the venom.
Hey.
It's a meat to beat.
Nice.
And we will end combat here.
And
I thought you were going to say the episode.
And
It's
short
a
one this week,
quickie.
guys. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty easy. We know what we're gonna do for the next 30 minutes. We're gonna go back. We're gonna rest. We're gonna level up. We're all gonna max out our hero points, and then we're gonna go back down and fight your review.
and there we go.
I'll tell you what,
Uncharted
everyone.
North Mad Libs, just fill in your own blanks. Listening.
Oh no, that's a merch idea. That is a great merch idea. Uncharted North publishes its first book, Mad Libs.
Oh, it's just so many Krucka sayings of fill in blank, and it makes even more sense when you put random words in there.
There's no use crying over spilled blood becomes there's no use blank.
There's no ruse smelling over spilled.
But yeah,
Blank
Lump is
barn.
going to.
Oh my god! Imagine it's just a book of like the first half of the shit that Krucka says.
And then the left half is fill in the blank. Oh my god.
It's a good title too. Shit that Krucka says.
And just to really harbor on here, what if there was a calendar? You know those ones where you rip off one thing a day and it has like a
like
word
an
or
Advent
whatever?
calendar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just Krucka's one-liners.
And he's in a bikini the whole time?
Wow.
Not the whole time. Only if you flip through.
You gotta flip through. You gotta
It
do that
slowly
with the
drops a
flip book,
bikini. No, sorry. That got
will I
Mute that, cut that.
I'll never tell.
Fuck.
I don't mean to keep interrupting you, Cam, but
No.
these aren't bad ideas. They're not good ideas, but they're not bad ideas.
No, I am very happy
so
to
good.
just witness this. Oh fuck, I'm crying a little.
They're not that bad.
No, they're
They're
really
great. They're
fucking
great.
good.
I want to
Like,
do them. I want someone's got to do the legwork here. Listeners,
Oh,
we need
fuck.
volunteers.
I mean, I think it has to be Duncan, doesn't it?
Yeah. Duncan, we need 365 Kruckisms.
Stats.
Just off the top of your head. We'll wait. Go ahead.
Quick.
Start through it. So, Lump composing themselves after having an internal laughing fit at Tulok almost dying. We'll reach out and quickly snatch the pendant before it sinks below the water, if possible.
Good call. I tried to say it earlier, but everyone can have a hero point. That was it was very good action and coordination. That was awesome.
And as this is all happening, Tulok comes back to consciousness and just kind of his fly spell is still in action, so he floats slowly to the ground and is just laying on the ground prone, kind of breathing heavy.
I like to picture you like flying, but like prone above the water, just like a little bit Christ-like, just like it's like still a little pouty about it, but
That's pretty spot on.
There must be something. I mean, I feel like you're getting to it, but what's going through Tulok's head is what I'm really curious about, because most of that fight he was in a reasonably safe position, but then that final third combatant that came in and you challenged it and it met you because it could fly too. Like, you might not have seen that coming, and this is the closest to death Tulok's come in a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think that Tulok is just... Not that he ever was feeling like bulletproof or anything like that, but it definitely was humbling. Because he's watched a lot of people die. He has narrowly managed to avoid dying himself, but that kind of is just a reminder at how delicate life is, and that, you know, within 6 seconds could have been snuffed out almost completely.
Mm-hmm.
So Lump will grab the piece of the medallion,
Shove Tulok into the water.
He's just
I
laying
was
there
getting
dead,
there,
so just
Scott.
put him in there.
Will peel open their arm and drop in the fourth piece of the medallion, and then wade through the water over to Tulok. You were very brave for facing it and challenging it in combat. I see you have a defiant streak in you.
I may not made a good choice. There's just something down here that is slowly making me hate. It's bringing out these powers in me that are dark and sometimes hard to control my anger. It just seems to be getting worse, Lump. It's not something to be proud of.
Lump smiles with both of their mouths, their eye creasing with it. Tulok, if I may be so bold, I don't think that you're becoming darker. I think that you're realizing a purpose. And if there's anything the last breath teaches us, it's you do it until you can't, until your last breath. And I see bits and pieces of my pantheon within you. And that's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to feel guilty about.
True. I guess I'm not ready for my last breath to be today, if you know what I mean.
I do. I don't want today to be any of our last breaths. I want us to continue on and see this done. And so I will always do my best to ensure that today is not your last breath.
Thank you, Lump. And Tulok is kind of rising from prone on the ground as this conversation is going, and he reaches his hand up to them, for help up.
And Lump will hesitate for a moment, looking down at the warped flesh that is their appendage and then hand it over.
And so Tulok pulls himself up and says, I was unconscious, but I can feel your magic and I can feel your healing, and I appreciate you helping me. And Tulok says, well, thank you. Either way, I truly appreciate it, and I will do my best to keep you safe here as well. And the same goes for all of you. And he turns to his companions. I have lived while my friends have fallen. And this is just an awakening, a remembrance that any day could be our last, but we put our lives on the line for the citizens of Otari. And I thank you all again for being here with me and joining in this cause. And nods at each of them.
And Lump will throw both their hands up like, yeah! That was a serious moment, Freeman. Fuck you.
No, I just love that you're like,
Just kidding.
you're alone in it. You're alone in it.
I
You're
know,
like,
absolutely.
"Yeah!" It's just so funny.
Azori is totally ruining the moment.
Kreka
sorry,
kind of
I-
smiles at keeping us safe as he is nearly dead and kind of wants to just turn to his wounds and heal himself.
Kreka, if you'd like to gather around, I can treat those for you. Also, I just wanted to point out, Azori, that was amazing. You really helped us out in that fight a lot, and that cannot be understated enough. Thank you for your aid.
As you turn to her, she's made her way over to you and has taken off her boots and is sitting on the edge of the water with her feet in the water, just savoring the moment. It's been so long for her. And she just smiles up at you.
Azori, you weren't here before, but in this area, there was trap doors from above that could set creatures down into this murky pit. I wonder if at the depths there could be treasure. We also know that below here it leads into the room of lava. Perhaps you could scout it out and take a look for us at the bottom.
That is why we came. I will take a look down below, but we should be ready to rest. I may be physically intact, but my power is rather depleted for the day.
Of course, I must rest myself.
She will take off her hat, place it very gently on top of her boots, take off her sword belts, and again diligently place it, draw the wand of magic missile, let down her hair, and dive into the water with her compass so the light shines out around her. So she's got compass in one hand, wand of magic missile in the other, and she's going to go investigate.
All right.
While she's doing that, Kreka's just going to treat wounds on himself.
Oh, I got the jump on that.
Well, he
For
waved you
33.
off.
Okay, fair enough.
So he's got it for... Well, I didn't roll it yet, but...
Tulok, you'll heal for 33.
I'm full, baby.
And you lose the wounded condition.
Nice.
And Kreka's just going to... While he's waiting anyways, he's got the Aeon Stone, or the Wayfinder Compass, just kind of healing him up.
All right. Now, I know, James, you said, I think last episode, that Azori doesn't see these people as, her people, like this crew. But do you think she sees a little bit of, like, a crew in, like, what just happened? Sort of the recovery and the talking and the thanking? Like, do you feel like it's reminiscent at all of, like, her own crew? Probably at a weird position because she's used to the whole crew just doing what she says. But these ones are treating you like an equal and thanking you for the job well done. It must be a very different dynamic. But must be a sense of camaraderie there that you notice.
Yeah, definitely after this one, more so than previously. Like, she has gone out of her way to spend their downtime with her cat, like, alone with her people. This combat, I think, is going to bring them all closer together. She now finally sees what each one of them brings to the ship, and she is starting to see a crew. She may not be captain of it, and she definitely doesn't like that, but she also understands that this isn't her domain, and it's best to do this together instead of having one leader. Or I think that may be a revelation she has eventually.
Right.
Currently, she's just happy they're all alive, because if they're all alive, that makes it easier to get to her goal, and that is to put Velcora back in the fucking ground.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose, baby.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Azori dives into the water and takes a look around, and the first thing that definitely stands out is you could see that the pool of water here that the hydro is in, kind of at its deepest points, and it's kind of averages out. Most of it's like it's a kind of like a one, mostly one depth. And it's about 15 feet deep. You would guesstimate that around the center of the room is where the pool of magma below would be. As you kind of search around, you can see that there are definitely bones of various creatures around. In particular, you might spot some leftover bones from the creatures most recently dropped in here, but they would have been devoured pretty heartily. So not really anything intact so much that's recognizable. And as you kind of swim around, you kind of hit the edge of the water, and you realize, that it continues on in a more shallow portion. It goes down and down and down and deep south, where when the crew originally had gone through the cave system above and looked down, they could see that to the south, the water was quite murky and fetid. And if you head down that way, you see more. The farther south you go, you see more and more corpses of what are presumed to be long dead gladiators for the arena. Lots of pieces of equipment, but nothing of any real use that you can notice, until you get very far south, where you notice what looks like an abandoned nest for a hydra.
Wait. Before she goes down there, she's going to swim back to Tulok and take one of the wand, or have him use the wand of status on her.
Oh, okay. Good call.
Tulok also will hand the bottled air to her if she requires something like that.
She can hold her breath for 8 rounds, so I think she's okay.
Never mind.
But you
But
can't.
I did think about that.
There is some land for you to follow her swimming most of the way. Even
That was the
so
other
you guys
thing.
can kind
Yeah.
of back her up. Yeah. But there is a point of no return where it's just water for sure. But that's the farthest part south, and that's where you find this abandoned hydra nest. You might suspect it was abandoned because of the Sarglagon. That is where you find a rather unique looking piece of armor, in that it seems to be intact and in reasonably good condition, quite good condition, if not super shiny. Probably needs a little bit of cleaning up, but it's got these sort of lion motifs on it, and you recognize it as a +1 resilient scale mail.
Ooh.
Scale mail, I'm not sure about this party. Resilient should be the thing that really stands out for all of you right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Big time.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I might actually be able to wear scale mail.
What kind of armor is it?
I think it's medium.
Might be heavy. Hang on.
Ooh, might have
I'm going to throw it in the party stash anyway, so you can all take a boo.
No, I am.
it
not
is
trained in
medium,
any
yeah.
armor.
It's medium. Yeah.
So she'll bring that back on land.
Krucka has to decide if he thinks wolves or lions are cooler.
Ooh. So +1 to saving throws for listeners who are unaware.
For the Brazilian, I believe that's it. Yeah,
I mean, you can always move the rune to your wolf jaw.
that's it. You can transfer, right? I would actually. Let's see what the wolf jaw armor acts as a +1 hide armor. Oh yeah, you could. You have room for it.
Sweet.
Easy.
What's that cost?
I think it's like
10%.
10% of the cost of the
rune.
rune and a day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next time we're back in town.
Put it on the to-do list and try not to forget.
Okay, she will summon Sammy and dry herself off on the cat's fur.
Okay.
Cats love that.
Cats, yeah.
And then put her boots and her doublet and her sword back on and you know, make sure her hair is okay before she puts the hat back on. Well, this is all I was able to find. There are corpses and the like down that way, but most of their equipment is mundane and rusted beyond repair, requires more work than its value. I did find below the points in which the water is leaking. How deep or like how thick do I think that rock is between the waterbed and the ceiling?
Pretty thick. In fact, it's hard to pinpoint where the weakest part is here. You would guess that you could either spend a large amount of time, well, it'd be a large amount of time to slowly pick away at either side, but it would be more here, which would be more difficult underwater. You would suspect that the spot below would respond better to a big impact if you were able to provide one.
Right, but Lump and I are both wave touch paragons, so we don't take any penalty for attacking underwater.
Sure. I bet you're not looking at stabbing this with your sword to break it. No way. Wouldn't work.
I have the armory bracelet, so I could just summon a big ass hammer.
Ooh.
Yep.
We're just going
I guess that's the
blasting
thing.
magic missiles all over the place in there.
Are you bringing this up to Lump?
I'm just trying to get an idea of how long that would take before we start planning it, and then I figure we can plan it in character as we take a long rest, because I need spells.
Well, why don't we get a crafting or labor lore check from yours truly, Kruka?
Oh,
Izori will attempt to aid in the crafting check.
Kraka is going to hero point that because this seems important. Wow, 21 the first time, 20 the second time.
We love that.
21 on the die?
Not 21 total.
5 on the die.
Let me
And then
see
4.
here. Well, you already passed the nature check to notice it. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll give you what this says here. It basically just says for the magma room, if you were to widen the crack in the ceiling there, the task would require appropriate tools and the ability to reach the ceiling and several hours of chipping away at the stone. And that's on the underside. So I would say certainly still several hours on this side, if not a little bit more. Maybe a full day's worth of work.
Okay. As an expert craftsman, I can deduce that we would have to remove some of this rock to allow the water through to the other room. I hope this helps.
I'm sorry, Dunk. I need you to retake that line. You are actually a master in crafting, not an expert.
As a master in craftsman.
As a
God.
master
Think
crafter.
As a master craftsman.
I am nowhere near as skilled in crafting as you, Kruka, but if we did open that to drain down to the air, yes, isn't there a risk of whirlpool and suction and water adhesion?
I said craftsman, not physicist.
That would give us some time. We would flow down with the water. It would theoretically cool the magma at an equal rates. I mean, a little bit less than an equal rate because of evaporation, the heat dissipation, and you understand. But as long as we could keep on track of that, the only reason I'm not worried about it is because I have catfall, so I'm not super worried about it. If she can steal like Glash's pick and she's got catfall, she could make this happen. I believe
Lump's jaw drops and eye widens at the same time in awe of the knowledge of Izori.
Yeah, like Lump is
Izori
legitimately
knows how to
impressed.
sink ships.
Like Lump is wise enough to understand whirlpool, but not smart enough to understand the actual physics of it.
Yeah, I mean, Izori has a +5 intelligence, and her thing is ships and water. So I feel like I'm portraying this accurately.
I think I have to toss in that you're not wrong, but Izori with a +5 intelligence would surely maybe consider the fact that the very sudden contact in a large amount with the magma is not going to be a casual interaction. Probably quite violent, in fact.
Steamy.
Yeah, the reason I didn't factor that in is because she has sailing lore, not like miner's
Right,
lore
yeah.
or any other lore. So I know that. James knows that. I don't honestly believe that Izori would know that. That the reaction would be that.
I
violent.
wonder, because it's tough, because I wonder how much like high impact, like say fire magic she's seen at sea. You know, like if you were to be in like a proper battle, and I can't remember your full history, but if you're a proper like big old naval battle with magic casters, I would imagine fireball and things like that would be one of the go-tos for sinking another person's ship.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, that does create a violent reaction. But I think that's what she's basing this around. There's steam, there's evaporation.
Yeah.
But pouring water into magma would probably be explosive. And I don't think she's ever seen that.
Okay,
Like a
sure.
fireball into the ocean isn't, you know,
It's a bit different. Yeah,
We were all
yeah.
in an infernal sauna not too long ago.
Izori was not there.
Yeah, Lump
Right.
was not
So the
there.
rest of them, maybe Krukostops, were like, whoa,
Yeah.
I've seen this before. And as a master craftsman.
Also, just putting this out there. What if she went down and just activated the Mask of the Banshee?
Oh,
Sing it,
I
sister.
don't know how magic interacts with 2E, but like in 1E, magic did half damage to objects before anything else came into effect. So it might be
Yeah,
enough,
I mean,
but
it's
I don't
sonic
know.
magic, so I figured it might be applicable, and it is an emanation.
Yeah.
But she also has Haunting Him, which is sonic magic.
I don't know. I think that
Banshee's Mask does do void damage, though, so 50-50.
Void damage.
Yeah.
do we I think that before we attempt anything, we should what time of day is it, Freeman?
Oh, very good question. Let me take a boo here.
While he's looking, I think that I still have a number of my powerful magics left, but Azori, I believe, spent significantly more than I did in those encounters, those fights. And Lump will glance back and forth between Tulok and Azori. Do you require more rest before we continue forward?
Yes, very much so. Unless we think we can get by with a single casting of Day's Weight and Blur.
That that sounds like
So
plenty.
she's
That sounds
empty.
like plenty.
She's out of 4. She's only got 1-3 left. She hasn't touched her second level spells, but they're mostly dispel magic.
well, so Tulok turns and says,
It's about 9 a.m., by the way.
I have spells left that I could use now to try to deepen this hole and attempt to break through, but I would have to rest again before a fight.
My concern is that if you open the hole, it will not be time to rest. It will become a confrontation. Is there any business that you all have in the town that you feel could be taken care of, since it is so early in the day?
I do have some errands to run.
Lump will look at Tulok.
I think I left my stove on.
It's got a hot plate in the caravan. It's been on for days.
I will never be serious again.
All of Otari is a smoldering mess because I let the hot plate get out of control.
whole
The
market
Great
went up
Otari
overnight.
fire started with
48,
Why didn't I think of that?
19. Yeah. God damn.
Okay, in all seriousness,
I mean, I guess we should decide how we're going to attack this, because like Azori doesn't have any business in the town, but she would like spell slots and a rest. But if we are going to go from the top down here, we could just pick a spot, like inch wide, whatever, and just hammer away at that until we start to see water moving. Swim away or warp step, or if we rest prior, I could dimension door out. Watch the water fall, because even if it's a pinprick or like 3 centimeter hole.
Well, it's already a pinprick.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. But like, even if we can widen that a little bit, the sheer weight and force of the water will do that job for us, and theoretically just erode the rock away. We just need to make the hole a little bigger. Is my thoughts anyway.
Okay.
James's thoughts. I don't know about his.
Cam's thoughts is we're getting a little too fancy with this.
I just want to pour water on these Iranis because they're going to be a bitch to fight.
Pathfinder.
There's no world in which this is easy.
Pathfinder 1E, there's dungeoneering, right? And that would always let you know where in the dungeon you were, like what direction you were going, what was above and below you.
Yeah, it's survival now.
Okay, so can we roll a survival and see if we can figure out whereabouts that hole was and work that area if we get a good enough score? Fremen.
That's a Dune reference, listeners.
Yeah, I think you're already I said it's not as obvious from this side, but I still think Azori found it.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think you're okay on that point. You have an idea between really just with Kruka's like kind of check from below and now check from above. I think you can kind of determine where the point would be. You know that the leak was basically over the altar in that room below, which was just on the edge of like sort of this half moon balcony, and the whole room is circular. So yeah, you have an idea where it would be, and like if the water were to start pouring through, it would land on the altar first and then spill into the magma.
So Tulok begins spamming telekinetic projectile, just sending rock after rock after rock after rock after rock after rock.
Sure. I mean, by all means you could do that. But again, regardless, it will take pretty much a full day worth of work.
Can you imagine
cool
shouting? Can you imagine shouting at something for 12 hours?
Yeah,
Well, you
Verbal
probably
components.
gain the exhausted condition after like 6.
I go to music festivals.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, but
not
it's too long.
shouting every 6 seconds for 12 hours at a music festival.
You've never seen me.
I have seen you. You're on camera right now.
You've never seen me at a music festival.
Okay, you got me
Don't
there.
tell me how I scream.
Just the idea.
Mudvayne can do it. Tulok can do it.
Acid's a hell of a
bear in
drug.
mind too, this might help, but
Hell of a
Glash has a pick, so someone could use
Yeah, I already
that.
said that.
Yeah,
Oh, did you?
that's
Okay,
what I
okay.
just said,
I
yeah.
missed that point.
Yeah, I mean, Glash is the one who should be doing this. He's a fucking
Okay,
deep gnome.
So Azori can just hold Glash in your hands and swim down there.
I'm not so good at swimming.
Look at him, he's an old man.
Tulok gives him
so
bottled
old.
air and smacks him in the ass.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go. How do I use this?
I'm calling HR.
You'll figure it out.
Okay. I didn't really sign up for this.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
All right,
I
so
mean-
where are we at? I
don't know.
where
We're
at
getting
anymore.
We're
derailed.
so
here.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
my point. Like,
Yeah.
let's just go. Like, okay, so Kruka just got a new magic item. Wants to get that done. Let's go back to town. Get that taken care of today. We can rest, and then we can think about this tomorrow. But in my mind, spending 12 hours plus casting telekinetic projectile at a place in underwater just does not make sense.
not good.
Like,
No, I know, and I was more kidding, but yeah, this whole thing I didn't think was going to be a 12-hour fucking ordeal or more.
Can we just go buy some explosives?
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea if we can find like a stick of dynamite or something.
Yeah, I know we've lost our alchemist, but
Sorry, James banned gunslingers and gunpowder from this game, so no dice.
okay. So first of all, gunpowder is not the only accelerant that exists in the world. Second of all, if I have that power, it's for the network, not for this game.
I concur. Okay, let's
Also, there's no dynamite in 2E.
let's head back to town then. Lump, are you comfortable joining us? I know you haven't left here in a long time.
Yeah, Lump hesitates and No, I think it's best if I just stay here and make sure nothing gets out.
Are you sure?
I will stay with them, Tulok. Keep them company. Otari has nothing left for me but sadness.
Meta talk. Do we have anything else that we need to do in town?
On the meta level, if we have some stuff we can sell, Lump might try to get a better shield, a better sturdy shield.
We have a better sturdy shield.
We do.
That hasn't been provided to Lump and Lump. If you are going though, if there's any way that you could possibly procure me a better shield, this one feels like it's starting to lag behind in terms of the sheer damage that our enemies can do to it.
Yes, we do have another shield in town. The return policy was not so good.
Fuck. I was going to keep a straight face, but I couldn't. Oh,
There's no way I was going to.
No. That's why it's the episode title.
No comment.
The return policy wasn't so good. Oh fuck.
Oh, damn.
We will retrieve this for you to help the party.
Okay. Thank you.
Wait, sorry. Double checking here. I don't see where that shield is. And,
No, I don't see it either.
And wasn't it the same that Lump has?
I have a lesser. I figured that
It was
Gilda
moderate.
was yeah.
Moderate? You sure it was moderate? That's a level 10 item. It costs 1,000 gold. I don't think you bought a moderate shield. I'm pretty sure you upgraded from minor to lesser.
Oh yeah, that's correct. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never mind.
So
But it
roll back
looks
that.
It looks like our total wealth is significantly high enough that I could potentially get a moderate.
Yeah, if you want to pool your resources, could do. But it will be the 2 days there, 2
It'll
days
have
back,
to be sent out for
expediting.
yeah.
That's okay.
Mhm.
I'm down with whatever. If that sounds like it's going to help us. Cold iron shield standard grade. That's worth a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Oh, and I've got that tattoo blueprint, the 100 victories tattoo.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Well, depending on how long you want to spend in town, you might be able to get Kruka to transfer that rune without having him to come back down not wearing armor or wearing different armor in the meantime. You could just kind of take a extra long time if you want. And then maybe he can get the tattoo done as well, perhaps. And then maybe even chip off a day of the order for the sturdy shield. And
Yeah,
then
if we can
some.
take the
Do you have
day.
anything else to do? Like,
If there's any way, and Lump will grimace as they pull the Morningstar part of their arm off. Could you potentially get this plated in silver? Seeing as how we're fighting devils, it seems more appropriate than ever.
Court Lump, we know you love bling.
I do. I like the way it shines. Like a
What-
disco
so-
ball.
that's Lump's
What
middle
is
name.
Tulok holding right now if he takes
Stefan
that? Like,
Necromancy.
is it a fleshy bit or just metal or like...
Basically, like, think a fist made of cold iron with bits of bone protruding from it, and then the handle is basically like Lump's forearm.
Jesus Christ.
I thought that was perfectly normal. Is that not normal?
Is that camera lump asking?
Oh, I'm sorry. If this is too much to ask, then I understand. I thought that was Cam asking. Absolutely, like Lump would realize, like, no, this is fucking weird as hell.
I like to imagine that, like, a look of like weird and outness goes across Tulok's face without him even noticing, but Lump definitely noticed. You know,
Tulok takes it nonetheless. I will bring this to the blacksmith and attempt to have them to do this work. I'm sure they'll be able to figure out something.
Does anyone have a hat of disguise?
Yes. We do.
Oh. Lump will
Tulok takes it off Duffy.
I would
Hey, that's mine. It makes me look so chic and awesome.
it has been
The ladies be all a pawns.
fuck.
You got no game, Duffy.
I got that reference.
Just like the ABBA 2000.
Fuck. This
That
has
is
gone so
true.
off the rails.
Strong. You are strong and sad, Duffy.
Tulok, if it's okay with you, it has been quite some time since I've seen the town. I think I would be more comfortable if I could borrow the hat so as to not startle the villagers, as it were. I read a story a while back about a creature who terrified the local villagers, who was deeply misunderstood. I think their name was Frankincense.
I've never heard of this before. Interesting.
I think it was Fredenberg.
It's pronounced Physic.
But I'm sorry, Lump. I did not realize that I had that still. Of course you may use that, and I think it would be very good for you to get out of here and remove yourself from this situation for some time. So please, take this, and we shall all go together.
Well, I would hate to leave Izori, and that becomes a small problem.
Izori's coming as well.
I'll stay with Glash in the library with Ogrel. So the reason I don't want to take Glash is because he's a deep gnome and it's just going to set his eyes on fire. Also, if I can have the Threshold of Truth, she's just going to sit there feeding pages out of it to Sammy because half of those spells are occult.
Oh, fuck yeah. Go ahead.
Plus,
and then
you
also...
can stick around and do fucking research checks out the wazoo if you want.
Well, yeah, I think it takes an hour to feed spells, and there is a lot in here that I would love to get in Sammy's belly.
Yeah.
And so Tulok is also going to offer up...
Eat the spells, Sammy.
Let's see. I have
you like it.
Scroll of Worms Repast. I have Scroll Paralyze, Scroll of Mending, Scroll of Hypercognition, Scroll of Illusory Creature.
Yeah, if there's scrolls and they're on the occult list, I can feed them to Sammy.
Cats love
So
that too.
technically, this is a spell book, and these aren't scrolls. So what's your rule in there, Freeman? Like, I'm okay destroying the book, but
Yeah, I mean, I know Azori would be fine with it. It's supposed to be returned to Morlibent. So
Good thing Tulok has bookbinding
kind of
lore.
one of Morlibent's prized possessions, in fact, if I recall correctly.
okay.
So, yeah.
Oh,
and-
right. This is one of the.
It's one of the items, yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
this is our Mavdian's book, yeah, from one of the Rose Guard, and yeah, and also double check that they're on your tradition. They're in your tradition because
I checked a bunch of them. They
cool.
are, yeah.
But yeah, your call.
Can I make scrolls? Is that a feat?
Crafting a scroll. The process to craft a scroll is much like that to craft any other magic item. When you begin the crafting process, choose a spell to put into the scroll. You have to either cast that spell during the crafting process or someone else must do so in your presence. Casting that spell doesn't produce its normal effects. Instead, the magic is trapped inside the scroll. The casting must come from a spellcaster expending a spell slot. You can't craft a scroll from a spell produced from any other magic item. For example, the caster has to provide any cost of the spell. You need to learn only a single first level formula to craft scrolls.
So yes.
Yes.
Well, in magical crafting requires a magical crafting feat, which I do not have.
So no.
Also sounds like you would, because you have to cast the spell, you would have to be able to figure out how to cast a spell from a book in order to make the scroll. Otherwise, you're just using your own magic to create a scroll, which I don't think you have the ability to do.
I could, but it's not worth it.
Okay.
Okay, so here's a fucking workaround.
Yeah, let's do it.
What if I just write "read by Izori" in the book with the Word Reaper?
Oh.
No. Okay, how does that work?
It wouldn't work like that.
Yeah.
Was written. So you'd scribe "read by" on a non-magical literary work, non-magical book, scroll, or play. You immediately gain cursory knowledge, so it wouldn't work. But it might help expedite some research.
Well, yeah, for sure. That being said, I don't think spell books, oddly enough, are necessarily magical items. They just hold the formulas to magic. Is that grimoires are magical items?
Yeah, you're correct, but you immediately gain cursory knowledge of the literary work as if you had skimmed it for 5 minutes isn't good enough.
No, not enough. No,
to teach me a spell.
Yeah,
as much as I want it to be.
that would have been pretty.
Abraca, etc.
Yeah, I guess it's a reason why the Word Reaper is like what, a level 2 item. It's level 3. Yeah, not cool, but not super powerful.
Okay, so
Splitting the party.
feel free to help yourself to those spell scrolls.
Yeah, she'll absolutely take them.
Tulok gives the Hat of Disguise to Lump. What does Lump look like when they activate it?
Lump looks like an incredibly handsome elf with the same black sclera as most elves, long pointy ears, and their hair that was kind of greasy and patchy on their head becomes a full bright shiny blonde, and they get significantly slimmer, but they still have that wiry strength of an elf who has honed themselves in combat, and the armor becomes very similar to a if you're trained in society, a very old form of last wall plate armor.
Something that
And they
heraldry
look-
lore would have been very, very useful on.
Yeah. And they look very much like a knight of last wall in terms of dress and style and the way they're holding themselves now.
Tulok looks Lump up and down and says, "Do you believe this is what you looked like before?"
And Lump just starts bawling and drops to their knees, and this is what I looked like before.
Tulok puts a hand on Lump's shoulder and says, I know it must be hard to hear, but it isn't always about what you look like on the outside. What's inside you is the important thing. And you have been nothing but a beautiful person here, helping us every step of the way. You didn't even know us, and you've given us nothing but help. Don't be sad.
That's easy for somebody as ruggedly yet beautifully handsome as you to say.
I know I am ruggedly and beautifully handsome. But
No, it was ruggedly for Krucka and beautifully for Tulok.
And Tulok says, we know what you look like now. But what would you like us to call you?
Just Lump for now. I'm not quite ready to say my, I guess, dead name.
And Tulok nods solemnly and removes their hand from Lump's shoulder and turns to give them some space.
And Lump, just staring into the face of their shield, seeing the reflection, just sobs for about a minute before just taking a centering themselves and standing up, posture straight, almost coming to attention with a practiced ease as they slip into this new skin. I believe I'm ready.
Krucka will clap them on the back. Just remember, Lump, it's what's on the inside that counts. A brain. And guts for eating.
Krucka, I believe you have, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, the heart of a baboon.
Thank you.
And
Archimedes.
And Tulok turns to Azori. I understand you'll stay. We'll see you as quickly as we can return.
Yes. Ogrel and Glashtrumdur will keep me company, I am sure.
Oh,
As
yeah,
will
I will.
Sammy.
Just keep dancing, gnome.
And they split the party.
Okay, as you part ways, Izori is gathering what scrolls are useful to her and Sammy. And takes the Illusory Creature Scroll, Hypercognition, Mending, Paralyze, Worms Repast, and also tries to take the Compel True Name Scroll.
I never offered it.
Okay. just behind the scenes, James is like, pass all these over. And I was like, wait a second. We got to mention that she's rooting through for whatever she can use. And I don't know if you want to have a moment at that, or you just do not pull it out of the bag of holding, what have you.
Yeah, no.
We're all on Tulok's person.
Yeah, Tulok. When I listed them earlier, I didn't offer that up as one of the options.
Okay.
Okay. What about illusory creature?
Yep, all the other ones.
Okay.
All right. You part ways. Heading to the surface, you instead of taking probably the slow way up, which would probably get Lump kind of sweating, you zip up to the level 2 and march to the surface probably as fast as you can. And suddenly, for the very first time, even though it's a foggy, kind of smelly fen and marsh, for the very first time in a long time, Lump feels fresh, open air on their skin.
And they take in just the deepest breath, as if it might be their last breath, before kind of blinking their eyes at natural sunlight for the first time in they might not even know how long, before looking at Tulok and Kruka. Is it still where it used to be?
Yes, the sun is still in the sky.
Okay, good. I was briefly concerned that it had crashed down and
I
was
think-
closer than it used to be.
I think that
Grotus terrifies me, but he's in charge of the moon, so we're okay.
I think that Tulok becomes slightly emotional as well, just witnessing this and the knowledge of Lump's background and how long they've been down there against their will, and then just the whole interaction with them reclaiming, I guess, their old skin and coming to grips with the fact that that's what they used to look like, but no longer. So I think that he gets a little emotional as well, but steels himself and kind of rubs his eyes and says, "There's much to see, Lump. The town is in the same place, and we can introduce you to Rin and some other folks there. It is a good place. That's why we are doing what we can to keep it on the map."
And Lump will nod and follow along.
All right, you march your way into town with a new mysterious companion in tow. Where do you head first?
Treka wants to take the armor to whoever can transfer that rune
Oh,
over.
to get the rune transferred, yeah. You actually get that done at the Otari garrison.
To the garrison. Let's, where's Reginald? Reginald? No.
Gerald.
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 Okay, so you're going to head there for the transfer. Tulok and Lump.
I was not ready for a town day, to be honest, so I'm not really exactly sure.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Perhaps we should go to Galentine's first to go ahead and get my shield ordered. From there, you can perhaps show me some tasty food or beverages. It's been a long time since I've had a moment to enjoy things that aren't rations or provided by devils or worse.
Do we need to deal with Gilda's sending Gilda back to her family?
Well, assuming you go to Galentine Deliveries to place said order, as soon as you get in there, Aloria, greets you heartily and says, Master Tulok, welcome. You're sort of just in time. You're always fortuitous with you fortune tellers, I suppose. We are actually ready to transport Lady Gilda's body to Absalom if we have your permission. We just need to say the word down to Vanny at the Dawnflower, and we can send it along.
Yes, I think that the time is right now.
We are going to, of course, just send her body to the stationed Andoran guards there. But did you perhaps want to send a letter along of any kind, or?
Yes, of course. I definitely would like to include some information for her father and family. And Tulok will move to the side and writes a letter, seals it with wax, and hands it over.
Okay. While he's writing that, Lump would like to approach her and, if it's not too much to ask, I require something a little more sturdy, as it were, and will pull their shield off their back and show it. This seems to be of lesser make. I'm hoping for something of sterner stuff.
Yes, of course. I'm no equipment specialist or blacksmith, but looks like here you got the sort of thing that just came in recently. I guess I could send for something that's a bit more of an improvement on the same sort of style, if that's what you're looking for.
Yes, please.
Right away.
Also, I forgot to introduce you. This is our new companion. And he turns and towards Lump. Their name
panics. Lump panics.
Their name
Lump
is
panics. Lump panics so hard.
A pleasure to meet you. I'm a lawyer, Galentine. You're adventuring down below in the Gauntlet as well. Where on earth did they find you? I haven't heard of you coming in through Artavi at all.
It is a long story, best told over a drink.
Well, I kindly accept your offer. That will be lovely. At the day's end, I can meet
Lump
you at
panics.
the
Lump panics. Lump panics.
How exciting!
You may call me Sal for now.
Sal. Well, that's a nice, upstanding name, that is.
And Lump relaxes visibly, and thank you. It would mean a great deal to me.
Where would you like to go? If you're not familiar with town, of course, we could. There's several locations we could go to. Now it's a bit dour over at the Crow's Cask. Oh, you've never been? Okay, well, we have the Crow's Casks, but it's a bit dour right now because we sadly lost the proprietor, Magilloy, which you may have heard from Tulok here, Master Tulok. Perhaps the best seafood in town is, of course, a Cook's Nook, but it would be a bit rowdy in there. Not right for telling stories. There is the Rowdy Rockfish, of course, but it's quiet.
I
quiet
think we may have to take a rain check on this. We just have some things to do in town, and perhaps it might not be the right time right now. Soon, though.
Certainly. Of course. I apologize. I just got a little excited there.
It's okay. I completely understand. Just
We're all
stay
sort of
here
on
and do your
edge.
fucking job.
Yeah. Excuse me?
I said that. Just kidding. I'm kidding. I did not say that.
And as Tulok is talking her out of
Narala walks
having
in
dinner,
and horse kicks you.
as Tulok talks her out of having dinner with them, you see Lump get visibly a little bit disappointed.
Okay, in response to that, then Tulok realizes that he kind of just put his foot in his mouth, and he says, "Why don't we just meet at the fishery at 7 o'clock? We'll attend to our business, and we'll meet you there for dinner."
That is a fine idea, Master Tulok. We could play a game of dominoes and tell some stories.
Lump brightens visibly.
And
Go ahead.
as Tulok is kind of taking this moment in, so I just want to roll some sort of check, society, I would assume, on the last wall armor, or however it was described.
Yeah, that's well.
Sure. I think Cam just said if you're expert in society at all or trained in it.
If
you
you're an
recognize
expert,
it.
you
Last
definitely
wall
know.
is-
If you're trained, then you probably need to roll. I don't know.
Trained.
trained even like it is Last Wall is very famous.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Uh,
I didn't roll so well, so I'm just gonna. Oh, son of a bitch.
no, you're trained. I think it's fine. Cam,
Okay.
just tell him about some Last Wall.
Last Wall was originally set up by Taldor as a way to look over the holds of Belkson and Gallowspire. They were
Which is where all
founded
the
at the
orc
height of it.
hordes were.
Yeah, and basically they started at the conclusion of the Shining Crusade, which was the first time that they fought the Whispering Tyrant, who raised orc hordes in, I think, like 3,200 AR. I don't remember exactly. But this armor is a little bit, or significantly newer than this. It looks more closely within probably the past 50 years or so.
If I recall correctly, Last Wall fallen or Vigil of Last Wall is fallen?
Vigil has fallen. Last Wall is still there.
How tall
Yeah,
is
so-
this wall? Is it like the wall in Game of Thrones?
It's not. Yeah,
It's not a wall, is it?
It's not a
actual
literal.
wall.
It's a metaphorical wall to stand against the orc hordes and the undead legions of Tarbafon.
Copy that.
So Tarbafon was the most recent siege on Absalom. So Last Wall basically used to hold off the orcs and was also, I think, a big part of that siege, or dealt with the undead hordes of Tarbafon, however you say it. And that's where Vigil fell as well, if I recall correctly.
Is that one of the models that we saw of Absalom being attacked? Like all those calamitous things we saw of Absalom?
No,
Did we see
those
that
were
one?
all pre the most recent one. They were all before that. Good call though, Dunk. Hero point.
Hey,
That's a throwback. That's level 2. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Tarbafon had a artifact called the Ardent Dawn or something like that. I can't remember. It's been so long. But basically, it is the equivalent of a magical nuke. And the first place that he hit was Rossler's Coffer. And then he exploded Vigil. And there was a massive amount of casualties there. And then kept going. But that's where Erasni comes in.
Yeah, because Tarbafon also was basically, after the original defeat, was imprisoned, right? And Vigil in the Last Wall was supposed to
He
look
was
over
imprisoned
prison.
in Gallows. Yeah.
Yeah, and then escaped and tried to siege Absalom, failed, and is now re-risen somewhere. He's a lich, and he's re-risen somewhere up north. I forget where it's called, but it's up in like the sort of like free
Ustalav?
lands up north, right?
Oh.
No, I
don't
think it's
know.
Ustalav. I think it's I'd have to look up the map again, but
We're
yeah.
getting off topic really hard here.
way off topic. Yeah. Needless to say, Last Wall's very famous and significant, and most people would know at least something about it.
So I guess basically what I'm wondering is, so Lump was a soldier of Last Wall. Sal.
Yeah, you could probably gather that they were a champion of some sorts.
Okay. Copy that.
Well, after a bit of an odd interaction, you place an order and give Aloria the go-ahead to send Gilda's body to Absalom along with a letter, which I'm going to make you write, Scott, so get ready.
I figured so. That's why I was so mysterious about it, because I had nothing in mind.
Krucka, you're going to place the order, as it were, to get the rune transferred at the Otari garrison.
Yes. And then get a tattoo.
And then get a tattoo. Where are you going to try and find a tattoo artist?
That's a good question.
I'll give you 3 guesses. The first 2 don't count.
Okay, Thieves Place, the Crook's Nook. Crook's Nook. He's getting a back alley tattoo.
Crook's Nook. It's so perfect. You place your order, wander on down to the Crook's Nook. I assume perhaps Lump and or Tulak might head for Blades for Glaives to get the silvered weapon done as well. Mm-hmm. But we will call it for today with Krucka walking into the Crook's Nook with a big old waft of seafood chowder smacking him in the face.
I need this tattoo. I think it means serenity.
Chow down.
Oh, God damn.
All right, we'll see you next time. Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.